How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. It's February 2021. The NBA recently announced they'll have an All-Star Game scheduled for March 7, held in Atlanta, 1 month away. With all the uncertainty going on, players missing game left and right despite testing negative time and time again. It's really getting ridiculous how some players are forced to quarantine even though they test negative time and time again for the Rona while the whole team's allowed to travel. The prime example will be the Kevin Durant situation Friday night, how he was pulled out of the Nets-Raptors game just out of nowhere. I'll give my take on that in a little bit, so get your popcorns ready. I talk current NBA, NBA history, NBA comparisons, and anything related to NBA basketball. If you're a big fan of NBA basketball, just hit the subscribe button. Let's get right into it. This season, unlike any other, the league hasn't decided to whether have another bubble for the playoffs or not. Who knows how quickly vaccines will be distributed to the players when millions are struggling and having their lives ruined. Prayers to everybody overcoming difficult times. Better days will be ahead. Just a few weeks ago, the league didn't even have a plan to have an AllStar Weekend. The last time there was no All-Star, 1999, the 50-game shortened season. But all of a sudden, just over a month before the Players Association and the league reached an agreement, All-Star will take place in Atlanta March 7th. The game was originally supposed to be in Indianapolis before the season started due to COVID was cancelled. Indy will have to wait till 2024. If it was cancelled the first time, many players probably didn't think much about it and thought they had plans to visit their loved ones. The second half of the schedule should be released in the coming months. Every season, there's always a mini break during All-Star, especially for non-participants to spend time with their family or to go on vacation. NBA players can't travel out the country. The NBA is simply forcing it at this point. When something's cancelled and yet they revoke it, players are thinking, why is this necessary? The league said they care about the health and safety of the players first, but forcing an exhibition meaningless game with limited to no fans, what's the point of having an All-Star Game if nobody's gonna be cheering in the arena? Especially for players who have families they haven't seen over the last 2 months because of work and making sacrifices on the road, having to remain at an appropriate distance and not knowing if they're gonna play due to outside circumstances. The league hasn't been consistent here. At first, canceling All-Star, which should be the last thing the league should think about, especially when we're not even 2 months into the season. And looking at all these games postponed, they're really thinking about an All-Star Game. If the league wants to make things right and allow the season to run as smoothly and fair as possible, every single team should play the same amount of games, have the fair opportunity to compete for a playoff seeding they deserve in preparation for the postseason. Every team should play all 72 games if the schedule was listed as 72 at the 1/3 mark of the regular season. 24 postponed games. We understand health and safety comes first and why those games were postponed, but the league needs to focus on rescheduling all those games back and every team ends up with the same amount of games finishing the season. That's only fair competition. If half the teams play 72 and the other half miss between 2 to 8 games, that needs rescheduling. A lot will be at stake. We can't elevate a fair season if multiple guys have to sit out for a few games and only half the team can suit up, many of them deep in the bench guys. It was gonna be a mess when the first postponed game started the second day of the regular season. Then January 10th, 11th, 12th, 3 days consecutively. We're talking about games having to be rescheduled, and yet Adam Silver still decides he wants to have an All-Star Game. Yes, the league lost a lot of money during these times, but they'll recover. Even if certain companies up and running in some states, some people are already back to work. We also have people calling out with the Rona on the weekly basis. Imagine if it was a Fortune 500 company decided to have an annual party with hundreds gathered. That's basically what an All-Star Weekend is, more as a festivity where star players on different teams get to hang out. But if there was going to be restrictions, players can't leave their hotel without permission, no more than a certain amount in one room. What the heck is the point of even having an All-Star Weekend when guys can't even enjoy the full All-Star experience? It's more about just showing up to the arena, but the behind the scenes parties, and yes, some players will go out and party. The unlucky ones will get caught. That's what you expect from the young guys. When Lou Williams got caught in Magic City because of an IG post of him wearing a mask, don't be surprised if other players were out but they were just more slick about it. Players on the road already not allowed to permit to leave their team hotels other than team activities or emergencies, can't even interact with non-team guests. For the ones who are single, it's a long season playing all the games on long road trips. Their off days, they need some sort of comfort. We're all humans. Don't expect everybody to follow the rules, especially when most of the rules makes no damn sense. A lot lot of single ballers out there will find their own creative ways to bring the ladies back despite restrictions, no doubt, as long as nobody pulls a Daniel House. Although I agree with the All-Star votings taking place, it's important for players to get recognized with their performance. Future salary implications involved for many good players becoming an All-Star doesn't happen very often, and is absolutely a remarkable accomplishment. With all the hard works and hours put in, there is nothing like becoming a first-time All-Star. For any player, it's an amazing feat, but this season, the NBA constantly changing the rules without even confirming to the players. The face of the league, LeBron James, says he'll most physically be there, but not mentally there. It was hard enough for the guys to be stuck in the little bubble for months, an insanely short turnaround season. Kawhi Leonard, the quietest of all superstars, said the league simply just wants money, and money over everything. Giannis sides with LeBron. De'Aaron Fox thinks having an All-Star Weekend stupid. I don't blame him. If those guys don't feel like having an All-Star Game after it was initially cancelled, why the heck did the league focus so hard on pushing to rebooking an All-Star Game this season without letting all the superstars decide? To call it a player empowerment league where they have the rights to make decisions, the NBA was like, nope, you guys all have to show up. How about making up for those missed games in the first place? What if one player got COVID tracing from another person who's positive during All-Star Weekend? Then he would be stuck quarantining by himself. And what if he's in contact with all the players? Then the game gets cancelled? What? It's just an exhibition, nothing serious. More damage than good appears to come out of this. The league also handling the Kevin Durant situation was an absolute travesty. KD already had COVID months ago, already had to quarantine for an entire week the beginning of the season despite testing negative because somebody was in close contact. They say, oh, it might be a false positive. This whole thing was super inconsistent. The fact that a Nets employee had to test, that was unclear, and then Durant was with him. Then the league said, oh, KD can't play, and then he was able to play, came off the bench, played 19 minutes, and then all of a sudden pulled out the game out of nowhere. Since the employees resulted in a positive test, Durant was negative, not once, not twice, but 3 freaking times, and they pulled him out when he already played. You can't social distance playing basketball, otherwise it wouldn't be real basketball. If KD wasn't allowed, then why wasn't the game postponed? He was already in contact with the players once he entered the arena. Why was every player on both the Nets and Raptors able to continue playing? How did the league know nobody else caught it? And the Nets were cleared to travel to Philly the next day while KD wasn't? Absolutely makes no fucking sense. The miscommunication from the league to the teams really impacting the results of the games and all season. If a player got injured due to the game, yes, they can't control that, but just telling guys all of a sudden, you might have been with somebody that tested positive, so you gotta get out the game. If Durant was positive, yes, he must absolutely quarantine to prevent the spread, but now he's not available until another week. Is this shit gonna continue happening? It's a virus that's not gonna go away all of a sudden overnight. What if a player was with someone who might have gotten positive during the playoffs? If it was a star player, he tests negative like KD, but must quarantine because of the protocols for a week. A star guy like KD, imagine him missing 3 playoff games. That would be an absolute travesty. If that was the case, it wouldn't be a fair result for a championship for the teams and take away from the highest competition. Is the league going to do another bubble or not? What if this was during the NBA Finals and a superstar gets pulled out because he got in contact with somebody that might have it and then loses the series because of that? The NBA COVID policy, an absolute disaster already. Pulling KD out like that, what does he have to test 10 straight negative times to make things clear? One inconclusive test and they say, oh, he can't play. Oh no, you could play. Oh no, he can't play. If anything, the game should have been postponed if they were really strict about it in the beginning. KD was already in the locker room with his teammates. That's very close range. With all the tests and restrictions, after playing a 48-minute game, guys can play, foul each other, drip sweat, but can't talk or exchange jersey afterwards. Also makes no damn sense. It's like the league don't want to upset the woke losers on social media. Who cries every time a player's not wearing a mask on the bench? Elbows and fist pumps but no hugs? What is this, elementary school? When the guys already tested negative time and time again, fully cleared, they obviously don't have the Rona, but now you have to get away from them because they have cooties. OKC player George Hill questioned the league's policy, saying he's a grown man. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. If I want to go see my family, I'm going to see my family. They can't tell me I have to stay in a room 24/7. If it's that serious, then maybe we shouldn't be playing. But it's life. No one's going to be able to just cancel their whole life for this game. If a player on the road wants to go to Starbucks, they should be able to go to Starbucks. If they want to drive a few miles after the game to spend time with their family in other cities, they should have the right to do so. Karl Anthony Towns had 7 family members who passed away from the virus. Condolences to him and continue to pray for him with every terrible thing that's happened, that should be a sign for the NBA that instead of having All-Star Weekend, players should take the time to spend with their family members. We understand work is important and there's a lot of money to be made, but it's more important for others to have the extra opportunity to spend with their loved ones. It's only bearable for a brief time to be locked up in a room, go to your job, and not be able to go anywhere else, otherwise you'll get in trouble. This whole policy reminds me of getting detention in high school. Let's read some of these ridiculous rules. No team guests in hotels. Translation: no ladies for the single guys. That ain't good for their mental health. Everybody who's single needs a little bit of action from time to time. Teams may no longer leave hotels for non-team related activities. Players must wear masks in locker rooms and on the bench, but they take it off during the games. Once again, this makes no sense. At home, teams must stay in their homes outside of essential activities and emergencies. The single guys will just have the chicks go through the back door if the league was really watching them. Physical therapy treatment must be conducted in open spaces 12 feet between each station. Absolutely ludicrous, but they're able to play the game for 48 minutes, 158-page protocol. I'm betting no more than 5 NBA players read the entire damn thing. At this point, the league's just telling the guys to only play ball, no traveling, no this, no that. Basically just shut up and dribble, right? Many states in the US still close. If players want to party in Miami or Texas, they will have to sit down and cover their face. NBA players extremely tall, pretty noticeable when they stand up. It's been an extremely bad week for the league when LeBron's not happy, Giannis not happy, and how they dealt with the KD situation. If he was already playing, no reason to take him out. Every player ended up being fine from the Brooklyn game anyway. If the players get vaccinated before May, there should be nothing to worry about. Hopefully the vaccines go well, but if the league's implementing these rules and still holding an All-Star Weekend, if we see someone do a crazy dunk or hit 23s in a row, other players on the bench can't touch them to celebrate because social distancing? Give me a break! What are your takes on my opinions on how the NBA has been handling this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe for more content, more good stuff coming soon. I love all of you. See you next time.